Good morning, everybody. How are you? You guys awake? Yeah, having a good time here at South by? Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome to Women at the Crossroads of Culture, Music, and Entrepreneurship. I am Joy Brown, your moderator today, and I'm the CEO of Culture Creators. And my company connects creators with the next generation of leaders, and we also amplify the voices of people of color globally. And I'm happy to be here. And I want to tell you a bit about. This event is brought to you by DJ Rose Gold right here, who's sitting to the far right. Let's give her a round of applause. And she has this incredible platform called the Sorority House, and it's committed to empowering women in every aspect of their life. So let me get started and introduce you to these esteemed women. So to my left here, I have Cody Shane. And Cody is an independent artist known for her genre-blending music that captivates and inspires. Her journey speaks volumes about the power of authenticity and innovation in creating a space for oneself in the music industry. Can we give her a round of applause, please? And let's talk about Ebony here, seated next to Cody here. Ebony Gentry, she is the owner of Gentry Touring Incorporated, a boutique agency specializing in tour management, live show production, and artist development. With a wealth of experience as a tour director, Ebony has collaborated with award-winning artists like Doja Cat, Fantasia, and she oversaw everything from logistics to the creative aspects of live shows. That's pretty amazing. During the pandemic, she founded the Gentry Way, a boot camp that bridges the gap between education and opportunities in the touring industry. Let's give her a round of applause. And we wouldn't be here without this one here. This is DJ Rose Gold, y'all. So DJ Rose Gold is not only the catalyst for today's event, but also a celebrated DJ and an event curator. And did you guys see her at the Rolling Stone event last night? She was pretty amazing, wasn't she?
Wow, thanks.
Her experience across different cultural contexts provides a unique perspective on navigating the industry while maintaining one's artistic identity and supporting others' visions. So let's give it up for these incredible, beautiful ladies, and let's dive into this. So we're going to talk about experiences, challenges, triumphs of these women, and the remarkable strides they make in between the intersection of music, culture, and entrepreneurship. And this is going to be an open and candid conversation, and we're going to invite you to ask questions. We have a mic here to the left of the room. Feel free when we get to the Q&A portion, if you have your questions, please stand there. And also, if you don't want to get up and ask a question and you're a little shy, feel free to load your question into the app as well. But we really want to talk to you, and this is meant to be engaging and have you guys participate, so please feel free to go up to the mic. So, Rose Gold here. Hi. So we're here today because of your ingenuity. Can you tell us about Rose Gold University and your sorority house platform, and why it is important that you create spaces for women?
So one of the main things, and also I'm horrible at using mics for speaking because I'm so used to like screaming on them. So if I'm ever too loud or too quiet, like feel free to okay. So it's really important for me to create spaces for women because when I was starting out as a DJ 7 years ago, all my mentors were men. And I'm grateful to them, of course, and all the men who've been a part of my career. But I really, in that time when I was starting out, really wanted there to be women that I could look up to, even for small things like their hairstyles and their style and their wardrobe and all of those things. So I started Rose Gold University sorority to be able to create a space for women to come together and create and network. And even if they're not even in music, it's just a way to just connect with others that are in the same creative space as you. So ultimately, the goal of Rose Gold University sorority is to create activations like this, where I have women who I look up to so much who are sitting beside me, as well as doing shows, doing concerts, and just inspiring women to be their best, authentic, creative selves in a space with other women who share the same values as them.
Thank you about that. So this question is going to be for everyone, okay? So, how do you ensure that your work reflects your style and your culture when you're collaborating with either other talent, other creators, and working with other teams? Like Cody, when you're featured on other people's songs, like how do you choose which features to accept, and how do you mesh your sound with others?
Hi. I think for me, it's very important to stay true to the sound that I built for myself. So even if it's for the money or whatever it may be for, if it doesn't truly mesh with me and like the sound that I built for myself, then I try to stay away from it. You know, it's a fine balance. I also like to just work with people that I really, really like. Like me and Rose Gold did a song together, and I love her, number one. So the song being good just makes it all the more better. Like when you really like somebody and you make music with them. So I try to just work with people that I actually like and that I look up to instead of just doing anything.
Nice. It's beautiful to forge those relationships with people and be able to transcend into your music and let it speak volumes in that way.
So important.
Yes, it is important. So, Gentry here, my love, Ebony. So, how does your cultural background influence the inception and evolution of Gentry Touring as a Black woman-owned touring agency? Now, you guys, let's give it up for her because the touring agency business is very rough. It's very challenging, very difficult. So, for you to be a woman-led business in an industry that is filled with mammoth, how do you find your space?
That's a good question. So I am a product of Washington, D.C. in the 90s. And growing up there was really interesting because it was this segue of art, culture, hip-hop, jazz, go-go music, politics, and everything else, right? I grew up being able to see people of color in every level of success or despair. And so it taught me that it was up to me, and my choices would determine where I ended up in life. I could end up being the janitor or I could end up being the CEO. It was really up to me and how hard I worked. And that never left me. So when I decided to start my company, we have a motto, excellence always and always. I believe part of the reason why we're able to be so successful is our culture is one of excellence in everything we do, from the way we communicate to the way we put shows together to the talent we seek. Our bar starts at excellent, not good. And that's allowed me to kind of blaze a trail, I think, in a different way through the industry.
Yes. And Rose Gold, when you're DJing for other artists and brands, how do you maintain your creative control and still represent your personal brand? And that's a challenge because some of those relationships comes with asks that may not resonate with you.
Yeah. I think, honestly, to Cody's point, it's about taking the opportunities that make sense for you. Not every opportunity is a good opportunity. Like, FOMO is a real thing. I understand that. And Zeno and Kati, they know me very well, and they know that it's hard for me to say no to things sometimes. But you have to if it doesn't make sense for you. So you need to weigh the pros and cons, and that's what I have to do. So I'll give you real life examples because I think that those are really important. So, for instance, Ebony here, small little story. Ebony was Chloe Bailey's tour manager, and they brought me on tour with Chloe Bailey last year. We actually met probably like today last year is probably when this whole thing happened at South by, at the Rolling Stone show last year that I ended up DJing yesterday, which is insane, like so crazy. But anyways, back to the point. It's like Chloe's brand made sense for my brand. So it equaled something that would make sense for DJ Rose Gold. It wasn't going to be so far left. Like I've had an opportunity or have talked about with my team like opportunities with male artists, and I'm like, okay, I'm making an all-female album right now. Does me going on tour with a male artist right now make sense for my brand, right? So that's number one. Number two, it's also looking at what the task is at hand. Like what is it that's required of me? Because if I am looking to build my brand as DJ Rose Gold, as Rose Gold University, does this opportunity fall into like everything that I'm working towards as a whole? So I think just for you all, when even thinking about that for your own brands and for everything that you're working on, I think you really just have to look at like what is my goal, and do these things align with the future of what I want to do? And that's really what I've had to do. And it's been hard, and I know it's hard. Trust me, because giving up checks sometimes. But I think
All money, not good money.
it's not all good money, and all press isn't good press. As much as they try to feed you that, I remember that being fed to me when I was like first starting out. Like, that's really not true. But yeah.
So let's piggyback on that real quick, if you don't mind. You know, things that we hear that we find out as we get into our careers that aren't necessarily true. So Cody, I see you shaking your head. Yeah. So give the audience some examples of things that you've learned along the way.
I would say like all publicity is good publicity.
Really?
I mean, no, I would say that's one of those things that
I
you
thought
hear
you were saying
and,
it is.
and you grow up and you realize, man, just because you can doesn't mean that you should. So people throw all these type of opportunities at you, and of course I can do this, but I shouldn't. And I think people get that mixed up, like, I can do this, so I'm gonna do it, versus like, again, staying true to yourself and what you built for yourself. All publicity is not worth it all the time. I mean, it's about how I feel like some people are actually humans and some people are more like robots. So the robots will take a different route versus people that are actually human. I can't do certain things that don't align with my morality, versus I don't think robots have morality or morals in general. So it's just different. But
It's a level of authenticity we talked about earlier, right? It's about who you are, knowing who you are, and being comfortable in your skin and in your trajectory as well.
100%.
And, you know, Ebony, you talked about, you know, growing up in D.C. and being exposed to, you know, from the janitor to the president of the United States. And how did that play into, like, you know, when we talked about, you know, not all opportunities, I imagine you get approached by all kind of talent, ready to go on the road and be the next Beyonce. How do you determine what's right for Gentry?
That's a great question. The first thing that I look at is work ethic. I think a lot of times artists, when they're first entering into this world of touring, they have an idea of what it looks like or what it might feel like, and they don't understand the hours that need to go into preparation to becoming a Beyonce. Right? Beyonce in rehearsal will stay past the dancers leaving, right? She will ask them to do one more run through. And for me, I'm always looking for artists that have that drive, desire, and passion to get to it. They are laser focused and they're willing to put the energy and effort in, because me and my team are going to put the energy and effort in. We're going to be up at 2 a.m. in the morning working to make sure things for you are ready. And we never want to feel as though we prepare the table and you're not sitting there ready to eat, you know? So that's the main thing. You got to have a hunger and you got to have a work ethic. Work ethic gets you farther than talent.
And Rose Gold, you talked about being in the game for 7 years. You know, starting off in the business, I guess you could have been tempted to jump on any opportunity just to kind of get your feet in the ground. How did you determine what road you would take and the path and journey you would take?
I think so. So what's funny, actually, before getting into DJing, I was in school to be a French teacher. And so random. I wanted to be a French teacher my whole life. Is anyone else here from Toronto or Canada? Nobody is from Canada?
Crickets.
No way. Oh my God. I'm going to ask that at the end because maybe somebody will trickle in. Oh my goodness.
I've been to Toronto several times. It's a beautiful,
okay,
beautiful
so
city.
joy counts. So, you know, when you're in university, you have the option of taking elective courses that are like not even related to your major. I automatically gravitated towards business marketing courses. I don't know why. I have no idea. And I was taking marketing courses, branding courses for fun, because what was I going to do, brand myself as a French teacher? Like, probably not. So when I started DJing, I started applying the things that I had learned from those classes into me DJing. And one big thing that they speak about when you're in school for marketing and for business is they talk about standing out from the crowd. That's the only way that brands and companies and products end up becoming successful. And I knew that in order for me to be successful, I had to stand out from the crowd. And I was telling these ladies here when we were in the back about how when I started DJing in Toronto, there was maybe only like 5 other female DJs. So just that on its own, I was like, okay, I could have stopped right there and been like, okay, I'm already going to stand out because I'm new, I'm younger than they are, but I didn't stop there, and you should never stop there. And I realized that in order for me to be successful and to do what I wanted to do, I was going to have to apply those business and marketing and branding skills that I had learned in my DJ career. So really, once I did that, when I started getting approached for things that I didn't feel like were going to help the trajectory of my brand, like DJing at little bars or pubs or events that I'm big on, this is a random but similar point, I'm big on the way how you brand flyers for events. If your flyer doesn't look like you invested some money in it, doesn't have to be a lot, get Canva, like literally. I actually made the panel flyer for last year's panel that we did, and that was on Canva, and that was free, but it took me hours. But that's a sidebar. Like, I would literally turn down bookings because the flyer didn't look good. I don't go to parties if a flyer doesn't look good because, you know what I mean? So, so I would start just like looking at things like that because I had a very feminine brand. My name is DJ Rose Gold, for crying out loud. Like, there's, so everything just had to align. So I think like look into things like that as well. When you're building your brand is like making sure that aesthetically things make sense. Like, do you feel okay posting this on your Instagram feed? Like, does this look in line with your brand? If it doesn't, it's probably not for you.
Yeah, so in the brandscape, being here at South by, everyone sees all the brands out there doing their exhibits and all, and a lot of it is about influencer and creators, right? And engaging those and having them kind of speak the story of the brand. How does your brand play in how you communicate on social and to third parties? Like, what are some of your brand values that you want the world to know this is who you stand for and what you stand by?
I try to keep a open dialogue with the people that support me, and I would call them super fans. And those super fans are people that really care about you and not only love your music, but they also honestly they support your life almost, and they know that they do that, but they do it with pride. So I try to keep a open dialogue with all the people that support me and talk to them as much as I can. I don't know, social media is kind of awkward for me, so I try and figure out what they really want to see and keep it personal, and also make sure I'm standing up for stuff that I believe in, so I'm not just falling by the wayside, you know.
Right.
So I try to be as honest as possible and just keep an open dialogue. Like, anybody that really supports me knows that they can hit me up, and I'll try my best to get back to it.
So engaging with your fans is paramount for you.
Yeah, super.
Okay. And when you engage, you say social media is it's this big,
It's a little awkward.
yeah, it's a little awkward thing, right? How do you use it though because again, like everything's on social and digital, right? So how do you use it to kind of develop your voice without getting lost in the trends?
Right. I think it's interesting because when me and Rose Gold came up in like music, like 7 years ago, the whole Instagram thing was different. It was more like personal, like just music in general was different. So now it's so much coming at you all the time. I think a big thing is to and TikTok too. Oh my God, I hate it. I mean, I love it. Shout out to TikTok, but it's just like a lot to keep up with. It's so many things that we have to stay on top of all day. And I love to make music, so I don't look at myself as an Instagram influencer. I just look at myself as an artist. So I try to stand out with my message, whatever I'm saying, so that it's so that people see it. But really, I think honesty. I be as honest as I can, and I feel like that connects no matter what. So
Can I add something to that, actually? I think that also plays into like what kind of brand deals like you accept in companies that you work with. my team knows anytime we get an inquiry or there's like a brand that wants to do anything with me or I want to do something with a brand, the first question is, how can we relate this back to music?
100%.
Like, because I'm not going to go do an ad for a hair care company and you're going to see me like, oh, hey, get ready with me, I'm doing my hair. It's no, get ready with me, I'm doing my hair for an event. So I think that is also super important too, because like Cody said, like she's like, I'm a musician. So how do you maintain how do you maintain that authenticity, but then not lose yourself when you're working with brands, when you have these bigger opportunities? And it's like, how do you intersect the two things together?
Balance.
Well,
Yeah.
I also can speak to that. Working on the brand side of things, I think it's about a conversation. You identify partners who want to work with you. There are also agencies and brands who have, whatever their campaigns are. But they really want to work with you and value you as a talent. They're coming to you for a purpose.
Yeah.
And so you should always be able to use your voice to say, hey, I understand this is a campaign, but this resonates with me, and it would resonate with my audience. I don't think anyone wants to go out there in the ecospace of brand and influencer engagement or social media and get gonged. We've seen so many mistakes of people not taking in the voice of whoever they're working with or understanding the culture and coming out tone deaf.
Yeah,
and
this looks like.
right. It looks off. So again, that goes back to authenticity, being able to have a point of view, understanding your audience, understanding who you are as an artist. So Ebony, what is some of the biggest challenge you faced being an independent agency and a woman of color?
Great question. So a little background. When I first entered the world of touring, I started out in pop music. So my first mentor was Joe Sanchez of a company, 1826 Productions. He was Rihanna's production manager at the time, and the first artist he put me on was Zayn from One Direction. And then from there, I did my first world tour, which was with Fifth Harmony. And there was where I learned a certain standard of how to operate. When I took that and then created my own company, maybe about 5 years later, the first obstacle I had to face was people actually believing that I was capable of performing at the same level of pop music standards. And I had to push through that. And really, I have to give a lot of thanks to people who gave me a shot and gave me an opportunity and took a chance on me. And I never wasted not one of those opportunities. So every artist that said yes to my company, every artist that said yes to me being their tour manager, I proved that they made the right choice. I made sure that we worked at a standard of excellence. And that was how we were able to dispel a lot of the myths that we're not as capable. I always am very mindful about the path that I'm making and the people that are coming behind me. And if I can get in the door, then the goal is for the people in the room to leave the door open for the person who comes behind me that looks like me. Yeah. Because if I'm in the room and I do a good job and I excel, then they're more likely to let the next person try as well because I proved that it can be done. So I never leave that. I didn't see a lot of me when I first got into the industry. Now there's more women tour managers and more women tour managers of color that I'm starting to see, and it makes me so happy. But I didn't even know half of them existed outside of Tina Ferris. She was the one and only that I knew of, and I was like, that's my goal. That's where I'm trying to get to, right? But a lot of people, she worked in one very particular segment, and my goal was to be able to cross genres, right? So when I get a Renee Rapp, it's important that for Renee Rapp and her team in that side of Interscope, for them to see, oh, okay, they got it. They know what they're doing, because the people who come behind me will have it a little bit easier.
Oh, kudos to you. I love that. That is so important. And I see a great question here from someone posted from Anonymous. I think we spoke to a little bit, but I want you to go a little bit more in depth about it. In what ways do you use your platform to influence, uplift other women and marginalized voices within the music and entrepreneurial communities?
Oh, is this for me?
Anybody who want to take it? You go.
I can start. I think it's kind of like what Cody said, like having a certain level of is personalism a word?
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability, one, yes, absolutely. But also like feeling like letting people know that you're not that far away from like I'm not, you know what I mean?
More personable.
Personable. That's the word.
Personable.
It's
okay.
It's early. It was right there.
It's early.
Yes, and yeah, 12 o'clock. But yeah, yeah, I think that is one big thing is like just letting them know that it's possible. And like I interact with people a lot on my stories, and also to Cody's point too. Like those stickers and things that you're able to use on Instagram are really cool because you don't have to sit there and have like a long dialogue with someone or with a fan. You're able to kind of do like polls and questions and stuff, and it just it gives you that level of like it lets them know your personality. One, it lets them engage with you too, and I think that ultimately inspires people because it's like okay, like everyone is human, and going back to one of the first questions, I think a big thing starting out was you look at public figures like they're these people that are like not in reach. I can never do that. You know what I mean? So I think that's super important. That's how I at least use my platform to uplift women.
I can agree with that because I love Beyonce, but I feel like she's like light years away. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like I could ever just
Grab
even
her.
if she was right there, I don't feel like I could touch her. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to make people feel like I'm real. I'm a real person.
Yeah.
I'm not one of the robots. I'm
Right. I
one
tell
of the
people all the
humans.
time, we all have to pay taxes and we all have to die. So, there's all those
That was
things.
dark,
It
but
was
dark, but real.
But
I liked it. I liked it.
you like it. But I would say, for culture creators, like we're all about using our voice and our platform to uplift because just like you, Ebony, I believe we have to kick down doors so we can leave the doors open so that women of color, trans women, whoever can come behind us. What I realize is every time a woman succeeds, 20 million women can also succeed right behind her. And so it's so important for us to create platforms and push things forward because it's not really all about us. It's about what our legacy, what we're leaving behind, what do we want our future to look like, right? Especially going into this election year, we won't go there, but it's important.
Need another hour for that.
Yeah, it'd be another hour, and we'll go down a whole other rabbit hole. But as for women, it's really important that we champion one another and work together to collaborate to create this things just like this conversation. Because you don't know who you're inspiring, who's in the audience. So this is for everyone. And it's no secret, in recent news, if you guys don't know, there's been a lot of layoffs in the music industry. How do you think that's going to affect the industry and independent artists?
Depends on who's getting laid off. I'm not gonna lie. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I think music is moving into such an interesting space. A lot of things are changing. I saw the other day we were fighting for a penny a stream, so it's a lot going on. I think it definitely depends on who's. I'm very optimistic. I'm glass half full, so I can only hope for the best and hope that regardless of who's leaving and who's coming in now, that things just keep moving up like this. I mean, I think independent music right now and everything that's been going on with independent music, independent artists are very strong right now, and I think a lot of people are realizing that they don't need the majors as much. It used to be like, I gotta get signed to a major label. That was like the thing, but now I think a lot of people are realizing, hey, maybe I don't need the major. Maybe the major needs me, and I can partner with these other people, and hey, I'm not even making that much music off this music, so I have to get a bunch of different streams of revenue. This isn't even really the main one, so I feel like the labels are kind of not panicking, but trying to make some changes and get things in gear so that they can feel like they're needed again.
Yeah.
Because it's such a different world right now.
Right. And I anticipate that the rosters are going to change.
Yeah, 100%.
There's no way you can cut staff and then keep a robust roster.
Yeah,
and
people get dropped too.
Right. So that's going to affect your business, Ebony. How do you? I anticipate you're going to see a huge influx of people knocking down your door. How do you
We
prepare for
hope
that?
so.
How do you prepare for that?
Let's go.
We are prepared. So on the touring side, when the pandemic happened and everything shut down, that was a really big eye-opening experience for our side of the industry. And I think a lot of people recognized, one, how important touring is to an artist's income. Right? Their ability to not only make really good money, but engage with their fans and grow their fan base. And then for those that work on that side of the industry, I think they realized the lack of infrastructure that existed across live concerts and touring. And so I created my boot camp for tour management, which for anyone who works within my company specifically, you have to go through because we work in a very particular way. And that allowed me to be able to replicate myself. I mean, there's only one me. But the way and the process in which I work, it allowed me to replicate that so that we can have multiple artists. We're able, right now I think we have like 15 artists, and we're able to have that because my team, we all work very methodically in a very particular way, and regardless of if it's me on the road with you or another TM or production manager from my team, you get the same treatment across the board.
I've witnessed it firsthand. Like, she's not lying. Like, genuinely, yes. You guys are amazing.
You know, so for me, with the layoffs that are happening on the label side, what I'm noticing is a lot of people starting their own small companies or being independent contractors, teaming up with artists and building a pseudo partnership. So it's like you can do branding and you can do PR and you can do marketing, and I still have my booking agent, and we're going to hire Gentry Touring to run all the live. And with that team, they're still able to be very successful. 100%. Yeah. So yes, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
It could be good.
It could be
absolutely,
good.
absolutely.
It's glass half full.
Yeah.
That's why it all depends on who's getting fired.
Exactly.
We need a list.
Exactly.
So we can know how we feel. You know?
Well, I feel like this opens the gate to, for me, I feel like there's going to be more creative artists out there, right? Because you don't have necessarily the gate of the label not necessarily putting out the project or not agreeing what's going out. So I think you're going to see an influx of really creative artists and music taking a different turn. And for Rose Gold, for you, for someone who puts together music and work with artists, and, you know, shout out to you for your Passion single, I love. But talk about, like, what does this mean for you as you're putting these albums together?
So I actually have a distribution deal with United Masters, and it's been amazing because similarly to what Cody said, when I first started out, we went, Zeno knows, the amount of label meetings we took, and everyone just kept saying no. Like, they're just like, we don't get it. So basically what I'm creating is like a DJ Khaled style project as a woman because it's never been done before. But they're all just like, what is this? Like, they're just very confused. Like, we don't know what to do with this, you know? And United Masters, because they're a distribution company and because at the forefront of a lot of distribution companies is you keep your masters. That on its own, them having that mentality on its own already opens up the door for you to be like, okay, so I can bring my weird, unique, creative ideas to somebody like this. So I think for me, it's evident right now, like Ebony said, that a lot of people that are leaving these labels or that got unfortunately laid off from these labels, they're going and starting their own things because they're realizing the things that are lacking. Mm-hmm. And that is how you open up the door for so much opportunity. And that's what I did when I first started out, was identifying the things that are lacking. And honestly, the more people that are not with labels, like artist-wise, for me, is the better.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because the clearances you have to get, oh my.
Labels make everything so slow.
It's so much more difficult. Like, there's already so many steps to releasing music, but the amount of additional steps and the amount of additional people, every 5 people CC'd on an email and everyone needs to say yes, but this person is on holiday today. This person is taking, like, you know what I mean? So even, like, prime example, like working with Cody, for instance, when Cody remixed my song Passion recently, I just said, hey, Cody, do you want to do this? Yes, cool.
Yes.
Here's the paperwork. And Cody, did you, like, sign the agreement on your phone?
Yeah. Like a little scribble. I mean, it's just so much easier though.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's gonna be an interesting shift because the people working at the labels have the skills, and a lot of them complain about the fact that they're so constrained and they don't have the ability to be their creative selves in that building. So yeah, I think it's going to be a cool shift.
Yeah,
you worked at a label before.
Yeah,
so
I worked at Atlantic for
it?
21 years. I left at the fall of 21, and I left because I wanted to grow. I felt constrained. I felt like the glass ceiling was on top of my head, and I felt like I didn't have a voice to kind of bring change that I wanted to see. And since then, I mean, I haven't looked back. I've been super excited about, working with talent that, you guys, and really helping champion and advising young musicians and giving them a pathway forward without necessarily, being at a record label. I think this is going to be, I'm excited because I think we're going to walk into a creative renaissance in music. And so I'm excited to see what's going to go. We have a lady here who's been so patiently waiting to ask her question. Please give us your name and tell us where you're from.
Okay, this is for tall people. All right, there we go. Hi, my name is Abimisola. I am from Nigeria, but I live in Austin, Texas. I am not a musician, but I host a podcast on the African immigrant experience. And so the reason I came here is because it's really very much at the crossroad of like culture and community. That's what we're really trying to do. And of course, I don't work with like any of the podcast agencies because like one, nobody knows what I'm talking about when I see like an African immigrant experience. And so I've made the decision to keep that entirely independent, right? But one of the questions I have, and I guess it's for everyone, is at what point as an independent artist, right, do you decide to like take a financial career leap? For example, deciding to do your first tour, deciding to do your first live show. Like that's something I'm interested in doing, is doing live shows, but I don't have the backing of a label or an agency. And then like, do you have specific goals that you're like, okay, when I hit this point, maybe it's time to take that leap? And then also, how do I take that leap without draining my bank account? Because I ain't got it like that.
Cody? I wanted to say one thing. Man, sorry to say this, but the financial leap is every fucking day as an independent artist until you get a bag that helps you get more bags, and until you get like you can't, if you have $1,000, you can't save $1,000. You know what I'm saying? It's $1,000, especially today. So it's like until you really get that amount of money or that check that like sets you up to get other checks or actually save money or invest your money, then I'm telling you, every day as an independent artist is a financial leap. Every day is a risk. Every day is like, I don't have it, but I gotta do it. Because it's not, even if it's like, oh, I have to go out with these people that are way richer than me and I have to pay for my dinner and act cool about it. Or like, I need to be here, I gotta catch this flight, I can only be here for a day, I gotta spend all this shit on a hotel, and then I gotta go to dinner with more fucking rich people. Like, it's every day, okay? And you just gotta eat it up and never, you know what I'm saying? They can never know. If you got $1 or $1 million, they can never know. Every day is a financial leap. You have to be like extreme. You got to be all in on your faith. I think you can't worry and believe at the same time. So if you believe, then just believe and go through it. And if you worrying, then you know you're not believing. Every day. Every day.
That's a word.
That's a word.
You got it, though.
Rose Gold, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I think something really cool that you could do, because the other side of that is also, how do you make money, right?
100.
And I think something really cool to look at is what in-person spaces could you do where you can invite people out to do like live versions of your shows, even if they're small. I think that's something that was really lost on me for a really long time, was feeling like in order for me to do something, it had to be packed out with people. And it doesn't, because the people who would come to my small events back in Toronto when I first started are a lot of the same people still supporting me today, and they would pay for tickets to come. And even if they weren't paying for tickets to come, let me show you the experience. And eventually that started leading to revenue. And I think another big thing, because you have such a niche podcast, which is amazing, I would say find your community. Find that African community. I don't know what it's like here in Austin, but I know, like New York, for instance, there's a lot of African people, specifically a lot of Nigerian people. In Canada, you can come to Canada, and I don't know if a lot of people know this, and I was just telling Ebony, I am like a professional when it comes to visas and understanding how you guys' country works with coming here and making money. You can't come here as a non-US citizen and make even $1 legally without having a visa. But for somewhere like Canada, you're allowed to come and make up to a certain amount of money. And even if you're not coming to make money, just come and be a part of that community. Like one of my really good friends, Yusuf, said something to me when I first met him in 2017, and it's always stuck with me, is go to where your blessings are. So find your community and always go to where those people are, because those are the people that will support you and eventually put money in your pocket. Yeah.
And my last little bit, I would tell you before we take our last question and go to our Q&A. So if you have questions, please prepare. Is that think about life in steps. Like, don't get overwhelmed. Like, okay, I want this big, huge end goal. Start with crawling, then you walk, and then you run, and just keep moving. At the end of the day, just whatever it is, whatever small it might be, do what's within your means, but just keep doing it, and never give up, because that's how you continually build momentum. And you never know who's watching, and you never know the power in this of partnership and synergy. So, like to what these ladies said, keep doing it, but just keep trying. I want to ask you guys this question, and then we're going to go to a Q&A. 2 questions before we go to Q&A. So how do you see the role of women, particularly women of color, evolving in the music industry, both as artists and entrepreneurs?
The most powerful to me, I think last year was beautiful for women in music, and this year it's just getting better and better. I can say again, like when we started, I remember doing like Rolling Loud or certain fests, and it would be no women, and I'd be like the only women, or maybe 2 of us. So now I think it's so way more female dominated, and I think it's super dope. I think come on, like we're the shit, you know what I mean? So I just think it's super cool to see so many women in general, women of color, finally getting the recognition they really deserve, because I feel like it's always a strong woman behind pretty much every good idea, but now they're just actually saying that, like, hey, a woman did that,
Right,
you know what I
right,
mean?
right.
So it's dope.
Right.
Same. I think that just seeing women finally get the opportunity to sit in positions of authority. For a long time, the gatekeepers were all men. And now we're starting to see a changing of the guard, and more women being in places to be able to provide opportunity and fund projects and creativity, which is really lovely to experience, because again, like you said, when I first started, there weren't very many of us in those places of positions of power, and now they are. So the community is growing, and it's beautiful to see.
Yeah, what they said is exactly spot on, honestly. But just like expanding on that, I think the fact that we, even all of us sitting up here, and I'm sure there's many of you in the audience as well who are setting examples for other women, because how do you aspire to be someone or be like someone, or to even understand the capabilities that you could possibly have if you don't have people to look up to? So I think that that's really important, is the fact that we are women who people are able to look at and get inspiration from, and we obviously have so many women that we aspire to be like or that we look up to. And I think that's the first step, honestly, like, is just identifying the fact that it's possible.
Yeah, one of the things I ask talent I work with is if you could fashion your career after someone, or your executive career, who would that be? And that gives me a lot of intel, right? To see where their creativity or where their ingenuity lies. And my last question before we go to Q&A is, can you share with the audience, what was one challenge that you faced along the way that you wish someone would have warned you about before you got into the industry?
Can't take everybody. I've tried to like, everybody has to go. My bestie, my brother, everybody, I need them all. But you have to get yourself there so then you can have the opportunity to reach back and help people. And man, it took me a while to learn that. And I'm just now learning, like, I'm getting ready to go on tour the end of March. And I'm like, okay, I don't need a huge party of people. I can keep the party small and get in and out and like do my job versus being like, I need a posse. I think that also comes with age and understanding. Yeah, but everybody can't go. You don't need them anyway. Slowing us down.
Okay, so you all are going to have to walk through this process with me as I explain it. So for me, it was learning that you're going to be used and it's okay.
Don't be misused.
Don't be misused. But in this industry, our purpose is to serve, right? In life, not even just this industry, in life. In life, we are here to serve. If you are a good leader, you are a good servant first. And I think a lot of times, or for me, when I first got into the industry, it was don't let them use you. Be on your guard. Say no if you have to. And you have to learn the balance between things that are against your moral character or aren't good for your mental health versus this is just part of the process of you being able to be in the room. So here's an example. If someone says, hey, can you go grab me a coffee and then come run it back to me, and that's not your job, go run and grab the coffee and bring it back and sit there and stay. If they're offering you to sit in the room and listen while they drink this coffee that you just got them, be in that room and soak everything up, right? If they asked you to go run and get cocaine and then bring it back, maybe not so much, right? But little things like that, I think, I mean, you know, rock and roll, baby. So in this industry, there's like, you get to a certain point in your career where it feels like you're above certain things. You're above being a servant. You're above helping because that's no longer your title. You're now the manager. You're now the agent. You're now, you know, the artist. And sometimes it's okay to say, I'm still here to serve. I'm still here to be used. Here's knowledge. A lot of people like to gatekeep and hold their knowledge that they have. Sometimes you have to share it with the next person. If it's meant for you and if you're good at what you do, sharing the knowledge and the information that you have is not going to take opportunities away from you. So it is okay to be used, just don't be misused.
I saw something that said someone else's success isn't your failure. And
Absolutely.
I think that's
It is
super
not.
important.
Yeah.
I have two. My first one is you never, ever, ever stop being a student. I remember when I finally learned like the hardest DJ equipment that there was to learn, like the CDJs. I hated them. And I finally learned it. I'm like, oh, I'm good now. All I have to do is just like download new music every time it drops. No. I thought my work was done then, and it was not. Like, you never, ever, ever stop being a student. And I'm glad that I know that now, and I'm glad that that's something I'm always able to keep with me. But that's something I didn't anticipate at all. Because you really sometimes really think that you know it all. And it's also okay when you don't know something to tell somebody that you don't understand something and let them teach you. Allow there to be teachable moments, because that is the only way that you're going to evolve, like as a person, as a whole person. My second one is going from being in school to be a teacher. You know, there's teacher unions. And there's like levels of like pay scales and seniority, and you're guaranteed a certain amount of money every time you walk into that classroom, teach those little badass kids. Not here.
Hey.
Not here.
Not here.
And that is still a hard concept to grasp. And I say it all the time. I'm like, I wish we had a union. How many times have you heard me say that, Zeno? I wish we had a union, because you consistently have to fight to prove your value. Like, you always have to fight to prove your value. And that even sometimes shows up. I don't know if it happens for you guys or anybody in the audience. It's like having to separate yourself as a person from who you are in the industry is also really hard. Because, for instance, this might seem so like left field, but I hope this makes sense. in the industry and with what I do, I always have to be on, always have to prove my value. If someone's like, what's your rate? I have to say my rate and then justify why that's what I'm paying. But in other aspects of my life, I find myself feeling like I have to also overcompensate for my value in personal situations, in dating, with family, with all these different aspects. And it's like you become accustomed to having to prove yourself to get what your value is and to get what you're worth. And then you look on the other side, you're like, why am I trying to convince this guy to take me out for dinner?
It bleeds into all areas of your life.
Like,
yeah.
It's so hard.
The duality is so important. Like, you
Yeah.
gotta be like rose gold, and then you gotta be like you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would
balance.
say those are like the ongoing challenges.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to conclude this part, and we're going to take some questions from the app, and we're going to take some questions from the mic. So,
She has been here waiting longer than me, so.
oh, okay.
Are you sure?
Well, you go and you go. Whoever
I
wants
love
to go.
great people. I love
Okay.
good people.
Yeah, right.
Can see it.
Well, okay, I'm Caesar. I do a lot of community events and like float through the industry here in Austin. I guess my question is, being, higher level in this world, right? Music, entertainment, independent business, etc., entrepreneurship. How do you maintain community? I think that like the real question is do you always trust yourself when you are building community? Is community important to you? Like, how do you maintain that balance between business and genuine connection?
So for me, that's a great question. You can get lost in the sauce if you allow yourself to. I think for me, I always hold true to what I believe God purposed me to do on this planet, which is to inspire and to provide opportunities for others to achieve their goals. So if you keep whatever your purpose and your mission in life is at the forefront of every decision you make, you will never lose your community. You will always be on target, right? So whether it's deciding what artists to work with, what brands to work with, right? What you're posting on social media platforms, what panel discussions you decide to be a part of, what events you want to bring to a certain area, your specific community. If the question you're asking before you decide to say yes or no is, how does this impact my ability to whatever your mission is, then your compass will always guide you in the right direction.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being patient.
No worries. Actually, my name's Amber. I run a company called Nashville Unsigned. We run labels for independent artists. And what you guys are saying, I swear, we all got to go back and rehear all of this, because the business acumen, the shit that you guys are talking about is the things we have to put in pro-level independent artists' heads all the time. And this is run your business like a business. Like, it is a business, and it's multifaceted. So how do you guys build your business while expanding your empire at the same time?
That is a good
Loaded.
question. Yeah, I think the main thing is like finding people that align with what you want that empire to be. And a question that, something that Joy and I spoke about a lot when we were preparing for this panel was like the question of team building, the question of like, who are the key people that are a part of what you're building? And like, you probably have the world of things to say about that, because you have done such an amazing job building your team. So I feel like you might be better off equipped to answer that question. Sorry to put you on the spot, but
No.
I personally want to hear your answer. That's why I'm selfishly asking her to answer it.
No, guys, I didn't know my company was going to become what it is, right? Like, yeah,
It grows legs.
I
grows
just
its own
knew
legs.
that I had found, when I was in South America on my first tour, and I left the luggage in another country and couldn't get it back, and I had to figure out, and we had to put someone on a plane and bring it to me. I said, I found what I want to do with the rest of my life, right? And so I think sometimes you have to, again, be focused. What's the mission? What's the purpose? Are you working in excellence, right? And then as opportunities open up, is this aligned with me and my company and what it is I'm trying to do? All right, I went from 1 artist to 2 artists. Great. All right, now I just got offered 4 more. Can I handle that? What do I have to do to shore up my company to make sure my mission and my purpose isn't lost in the expansion? And so for me, it's little by little by little so that you can keep the focus of where your company is supposed to be going and the mission you're on task for. So little by little, and then you look and you say, okay, do we have everything in place to support this expansion? Yes, no, okay, what do we need to expand that? Is it money? Is it more staff? Is it, more opportunities to connect with external partners? Great. Okay, now we're at 15. What do we need to be able to hold 15? Now we're at 100. What do we need to be able to hold 100? So you have to pause, and sometimes it's okay to step back and say, in order to accelerate, let's go back. Let's look at everything. Let's make sure we have everything in line, and then now we can proceed forward.
I also think we're going to fix this industry.
Yes, I do too.
We
Yes.
fix everything.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Karima, and I'm a local singer-songwriter based in Austin here. And my question actually ties into women fixing the industry. I am currently building up my team to produce and just sort of release an album that I've been working on. And I've found that there's only one woman on my entire team. She's a vocal producer, and everyone else that I'm working with, it's just men all the time. I feel like I'm kind of juggling a lot of egos sometimes when we're actually there to make a creative project. And so I'm wondering, with such a small pool of women currently working in the industry, where do I go, or how do I find more women to bring onto my team, or at least just bring more diversity onto my team when it's kind of finding a needle in the haystack, especially here in Austin? Do you guys have any advice of how you've kind of built your team and brought in more like-minded people who, like you said, look like me?
I think, first of all, the fact that you're even here at South by, like even in this room, in the like that's the first step. You're already taking the steps. Because I can guarantee you, if you were to like introduce yourself, if you gave yourself a bingo sheet, I love to do bingo sheets and like have challenges and stuff. If you gave yourself a bingo sheet and you're like, I need to talk to 20 people today, or 20 women today, you probably would find at least 2 or 3 at the minimum that are like, hey, I'm actually looking to get into artist management. I think that's what I did a lot, was put myself in places like this. And also the power of Instagram DMs. That is how me and Zeno met. And I was like, okay, he manages artists. At first I was just like, hey, like, do you know anybody? He's like, hey, I could do this. So don't underestimate the power of just like asking. Yeah.
Thank you. And we're going to take one more question.
Yeah, hi, my name's Alana. I'm from London, and I work for a company called Jazz Refreshed as an event producer, but I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own company called Full Joy Music, and I specialize in publicity, marketing, and artist management as well. So I just wondered, I was unfortunate enough to get here a bit late, so I just really wanted to hear your top 3 tips for entrepreneurs who, really want to build an empire. Like, what are like the top things? And I guess one element of it is how do you manage risk as an entrepreneur?
Everybody's like, Entrepreneurship is risk. It is. Period. End of statement. You have to be okay with the possibility of failing. Just because you fail doesn't mean your life is over or what you're trying to achieve is never going to happen. Be okay with falling face first down in the ground. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, learn your lessons, and continue on. My main thing that I always tell people in this industry is never take no for an answer. right? The entertainment industry is meant to chew you up, take every little bit of your soul and spit you out. Don't let it happen. Don't take no for an answer. Do everything that you want to achieve. Figure it out. In this life we live in, with the technology that we have and the sources of information we can get, there is no excuse not to do it. Don't take no for an answer.
I just
ever.
want to add in. Oh, I'm sorry.
If you truly believe, it's not a risk.
No.
You just gotta believe. That's what it's about.
And to piggyback on that, I would say invest in yourself. I've learned that, you know, you can step back and look at other people's careers. Why do they get to do this, or why are they going there? And you look at their trajectory and places they show up. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself, whether it's getting yourself to be here on to talk on a panel, whether it's, you know, going to a networking session and you don't really feel like going. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself, whether it's get a coach, get a tax advisor, get a business manager, do whatever it takes, but invest in yourself. I'm going to close us out. We are at the end of time. Unfortunately, I think we can go on and on. These women were amazing. But before we go, I would love for each one of you to tell them where they can follow you, how they can get in contact with you, and if you had a favorite song that could be your hype song as you walked off the stage today, what would it be?
You can find me everywhere at Cody Shane, Kodie. Shane. It's great to talk to you guys. Everybody looks really beautiful out there. I got Zeno, the one guy in the crowd. I love that. I think my song would probably be Passion Part 2. Yeah, it's the only song I like.
I paid her to say that.
Did I steal your song?
No.
You can find me at Gentry Touring is my company's Instagram, and then The Ebony Gentry is my personal Instagram. My walk-off theme song, probably Outstanding by the Gap Band, because in my heart I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s, because life is outstanding regardless of the good and the bad times. And we get another day to be here and make the most of it, and so make it outstanding.
All right. Rose Gold?
Everything is just at DJ Rose Gold. And because Cody took my song,
I'm a thief.
I will say, I'll do a shameless plug of the newest song in my mind, featuring Alex Molly. It's like the perfect little like self-care, like International Women's Month song that we just released. And right before we get off, I will close it out because Joy's been doing an amazing job moderating, an amazing job. I just want to say thank you to the three of you for being here. Like, it genuinely means a lot that you guys are a part of this. Ebony, I asked her at 7 o'clock this morning to be here, and she's here. So seriously, thank you. I look up to all of you guys. I think you're all amazing, and it means the world to me that you're sharing this stage with me today. So thank you. And thank you all for coming.